the Delmarva Almanac. Each week we connect you to the best of Delmarva. Like other almanacs, our aim is to tell you a little bit about our past, our present, and events in the near future. I'm your host, Dana Kester McCabe. With all the oysters being harvested along Delmarva's shores, it's not surprising to learn that a number of businesses developed which could make use of the remnant shells. That's because until recent generations, people would never think of throwing anything away without using every single part of it they possibly could. Some shells were used as construction material in the form of tabby, a type of concrete made from burnt and crushed oyster shells. They've also been used here as landfill. With the success of the oyster harvesting business, it's sometimes said that Crisfield was literally built on top of oyster shells. And at one time, Delmarva oyster shells were found in fashions near and far as buttons. Mother of pearl, or nacre, the iridescent inner coating of mollusk shells, has been used as decoration and to make small utensils throughout history. Because of its strength and attractive sheen, during the late 18th and early 19th century, mother of pearl buttons became commonly used for men and women's clothing and shoes. After 1890, pearl buttons represented half the total production of all buttons made. In the United States, button production tripled by 1914. It's interesting that the popularity of mother of pearl buttons rose along with the American seafood industry. Button making was one of those cottage industries that flourished here on Delmarva. There were a number of factories in towns across the peninsula. People could either work at those plants, or if they had their own equipment, they could work at home when they were off duty from their day jobs. They were paid by the pound. A skilled cutter could produce anywhere from 100 to 300 pounds a week. Blank button discs were stamped out of shells with a drill press. Chemical baths were used to treat and tint them. Some factories here completed the process drilling the holes. Others would simply turn out the discs and ship them to other factories off the shore to finish making them into buttons and sequins. The last family-owned button factory in the country was the Martineck plant on Elliott Island in Dorchester County, Maryland. The Martinecks moved here from New Jersey in the 1950s. Their equipment and related memorabilia was donated to the Vienna Heritage Museum after they closed in 1999. At the height of their success, Elvis Presley and the Barbie doll had costumes made with Martineck sequins. Milton, Delaware became a center for button making, particularly during the Great Depression, when the shipbuilding industry was on the decline. More and more people seemed to need buttons. They could not afford new clothes and would replace broken or missing buttons rather than discard a garment. At one time, as many as 8 button-making shops existed in Milton. At the same time, an untold number of individual families were cranking out button blanks at their homes. The most famous of the bigger Milton operations was the Lippincott factory and the Excelsior Button Works. Lippincott was the largest, employing between 100 and 120 workers. The Milton buttons, however, were not made from oysters, but from abalone shells imported from the South Pacific. By the late 1950s, the American-made pearl button industry began to decline. This was in large part due to the influx of cheaper plastic buttons produced in Asia. And as fashions changed, buttons became larger and flashier. By the 60s, mother-of-pearl buttons could not compete with large, psychedelically colored buttons that were all the rage. So Delmarva button cutting shops eventually all closed up. If you live in Milton, when digging in your yard, you may even find a cache of glimmering mother-of-pearl shells left over from some home button-cutting operation. When I was a little girl, many of the white button-down shirts my family and I owned had mother-of-pearl buttons. They've actually never gone completely out of fashion, particularly for wedding gowns and men's formal attire. Now they are collected by aficionados of vintage clothing. People use them to make jewelry and all manner of decorative tchotchkes. I'm sure there are many seamstresses and crafters here on Delmarva today that make use of real mother-of-pearl buttons, but they don't come from here. That's kind of a shame because it's not like we have a shortage of oyster shells just yet. If you'd like to learn more about Delmarva's button industry, visit the Milton Historical Society and the Vienna Heritage Museum. Find links to their websites and upcoming heritage events on our website, delmarvaalmanac.com/history. We'd like to thank our community partners, the Friends of Delmarva Public Radio, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, and underwriters EatDrinkBuyArt.com for their help in bringing this program to you, our audience. Our theme music was provided by Brightside Studio. This show has been a Moonshell production. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, may the rhythms and tides of Delmarva bring you good fortune.